As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop.
Oh. Yes, resistance is futile. Do you think it is? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the world. I tell you what, there are so many balls to keep in the air every day. Don't you think that we could just have a break from all this? You know, people do take a break, and this is why they go to the mountains. They get away. They do other things. I don't know. They just, they see other ways of doing things, and they're not so preoccupied. However, those that are not as preoccupied seem to get surprised when something happens. Like, oh my gosh, and playing the maracas this morning. What happened here? Yes, there you go. Why is her spray bottle sitting up here on the desk? Well, because that is a good way to control Miss Out of Control sometimes, Princess Penny. So, we'll get that off there. That doesn't look too good. Anyways, yeah, you know, I think we live in such a world that is so topsy-turvy that you actually have to get away from it all and do something different. And going to the mountains yesterday was something different. I wanted to see the leaves before they totally were gone, and this actually was a pretty good weekend to go. Maybe not on the higher elevations, but we were plenty high up. I'm going to tell you what, everybody was pulling off. So we go up to Caesar's Point, Caesar's Head Point Park up there. We walk through Devil's Kitchen. Now, there's this little skinny stairway that you have to go down, and it's pretty steep. It's not dangerous, I don't really think. You can hold on to both sides of the wall. Well, Penny was not having any of that. You know, she goes up and down stairs now. There was a time where she did not go downstairs, but she was not going down those stairs. She knew that something bad was happening. So Christy picked her up, and she's carrying her down there. She's holding on to Christy for dear life. It's like, are you sure you know what you're doing? And I was right behind her. I offered her a treat. That seemed to relax her body, like, oh, we're not going to die right this minute. So we get down those little skinny steps, and then there was a path that went through, and you could look out over the vista, and it was really neat. I don't exactly understand why they call it Devil's Kitchen, but I was figuring a place that was dark and murky that you'd be walking through, no lights or something like that, but it just went out, and then it looked over the beautiful mountains. Anyways. So that was a lot of fun. So there you go. That is just a part of the trip. Then we went and walked on this area, and the sign says, "This entrance is closed." The entrance and parking for Bald Rock Heritage Preserve are now located at 280 Persimmon Ridge Road. Well, everybody was parking up the street and pulling off and then walking back up to this point. So I guess we were at the Bald Rock Heritage Preserve. I'm going to tell you the truth. Christy had Princess Penny. They were bounding on ahead. An old Crip here, because remember, I still have my leg issue going on, is trying to make up and keep up. And so we have to walk, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile, not that far, from where we parked to where these all this outcropping of rock is. Now, the sign says it's closed. They've torn up the pavement. The government, the people that do the road work or whatever, tried to make it so people wouldn't stop there. Do you think maybe somebody fell off the top of this thing or something? It's an outcropping of rock. but you have to go across a little stream first to get crawling up there. Then once you get up there, you're walking on this huge outcropping. People are walking up to the edge of it. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Christy was out there, just had to get her picture standing there like it looks like she's almost fallen off. Falling off. You can see the pictures on, well, you can see it on Christy Wright's page. You can also see them on my page. And Eller, I don't know if I shared them to WCRS or not, but I will. But last night, I was just trying to get some pictures up. But I look over, if it had, what I wanted to tell you is going across the stream, if it hadn't been for these two Hispanic women, and they did not speak English, but they could tell that I was terrified. I'm not sure I would have made it across. And they said, come on. And they took my hand and we walked across and we got across. And they were so nice. They didn't have to do that, but they were so nice. Helped me across. And then, of course, we took the pictures, looked across. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm not sure where you were supposed to go, but the place we were at, I guess if somebody fell off the edge, because they have that sign up there, they're probably figuring they covered themselves. But a lot of people, but not too many people, meaning it wasn't overcrowded. You could find a place to park. It was a beautiful, beautiful day up there. So, glad we had this opportunity to go up there. Where else did we go? Table Rock. We were at Table Rock. And then, when Diane and I had gone to Sassafras Mountain, we had eaten at a place called Aunt Sue's. Well, we're looking for a place because we're getting kind of hungry. And I said, oh, look, there's the place I ate at. So we pull in there. I got to give Aunt Sue's a big shout out here. They technically closed at 4 o'clock. Technically, they closed at 4 o'clock. So we walked in, and it was maybe 4:03, 4:04. It was right at 4 o'clock. And the lady that was the cashier said, I'm sorry, we have closed. I'm sorry, we have closed. And we're just like starving. We've been out and we were just so looking forward to, I had told her it was a great little place, had good country food. Christy's all excited. Yes, let's go. So I went into the bathroom. I came back out and Christy was talking to one of the waitresses and she goes, Christy asked her, is there any good place to go eat? And the lady looked at her and she goes, no, they said y'all are closed, so we got to find another place. So this waitress walks over, let me talk to the owner. That's the one you need to talk to. So the owner looked at us and she goes, sure, as long as you're eating off the buffet and we're not cooking anything more, if you can find stuff to eat, that's what we have. We were very, very happy. Very, very happy. So we got to eat dinner. Now, the most important part of this story, though, is I go to check out and pay the bill. And this lady who was the cashier looked at me again. Now, remember, keep in mind, we close at 4 o'clock. I said, yes, ma'am, we were just traveling through and we were just hungry and we're looking for a place to eat, but we don't live close by here. She goes, well, if you ever come back, we close at 4 o'clock on Sunday. She was bound and determined to make her point. Do you think she wanted to get out of there? But the other thing I will say, they had a lot of food that they were just closing out. Fried chicken, the meatloaf was delicious, mashed potatoes. I mean, they had all the regulars for a good country meal. We had plenty to eat. And so, moral to the story, don't be deterred just because somebody that's running the cashier tells you, hey, get out of here. We're done for today. There you go. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. That's a little bit about our mountain trip up there. That was a blast. We saw a couple of deer coming out of the woods. The the foliage was beautiful, and Princess Penny was so good. I guess taking her on these trips is really working, because she's doing well with other dogs. She's doing well with staying within the bounds of what we need to do, so I'm very impressed. I won't say anything more about what happened when we came home, so we'll just keep talking about other things. All right, that's a little update on my trip on Sunday. I highly recommend. Great fun trip. It's a good day trip. It is a good day trip. We went to, Table Rock, to the lake up there. We went and sat there. You can actually go out on this pier. I think it's maybe a man-made lake that they make, but they made a pier, and people can actually go out there and fish. Of note, they only allow you to use electric trolling motors on this little lake, but it's small. Now, when we got to the lake, here's this one lady, she's hauling her kayak, and it's a very steep boat thing. I don't really understand it. It doesn't really look like it's made for bigger boats, but it has this long boat ramp to go down into it. So she's hauling her kayak up the hill, and she's pulling it. Then another lady comes by a couple minutes later, and she's got hers on a little rolling stand, and she's just rolling up the hill with her kayak. But people had kayaks out on there. We didn't see any people fishing. It was probably 5 o'clock, something like that, when we finally stopped by there. But it was very beautiful. All I can say, it was beautiful, and it was great to get away. And Christy was going nuts because we didn't have any cell connection. And she wanted to post pictures, and she wanted to communicate with people, and there was none of that. So that was kind of fun, just to be away from everything. So the bottom line to the story is, I don't know a lot about what's going on. I wanted to talk some more about the SNAP benefits here. I don't know if anything has happened this morning. I will say that 2 judges, one in Rhode Island and one in Massachusetts, that they say that there is no question that the congressionally approved contingency funds must be used now because of the shutdown. He emphasized the USDA's obligation. SNAP benefits have never, until now, been terminated. The United States has admitted that the contingency funds are appropriately used during a shutdown. Then this other judge, Indira Tawani from Massachusetts in the U.S. District Court, said, defendant's suspension of SNAP payments was based on the erroneous conclusion that the contingency funds could not be used. This court has now clarified that defendants are required to use those contingency funds as necessary for the SNAP program. From a hearing, she said, Congress has put money in an emergency fund, and it is hard for me to understand how this isn't an emergency when there's no money and a lot of people are needing their SNAP benefits. So both of these judges are saying that they should be used, that these contingency funds should be used. Both rulings make clear the law requires the USDA to keep the food aid flowing, even during a shutdown, using available funds. I was talking to somebody this weekend about how they can determine what type of benefit, or let's say what type of person you are. Are you a senior citizen? Are you a parent with dependent children? Are you a senior? Are you a disabled person? Or are you a person that is going to qualify for the work requirement? I think they call those AWOBs or something. And remember, in Louisiana, they were they were paying SNAP benefits. The state made the decision to pay SNAP benefits for seniors, disabled, and parents with children. I don't know, it had to be single parents, but anyways, it was parents with children. They made the decision. So they were loading the cards with that. Now, one of the things I didn't realize that they had the ability to separate them out. In that case, what they're saying is that able-bodied people that are able-bodied and able to work, and you may remember that they changed the law as far as getting SNAP benefits, etc., unemployment, SNAP benefits, etc. They have made it that they must work 20 hours a week or volunteer 20 hours a week or be in school at least 20 hours a week. So they have added a requirement to that one. But what they are saying is if you are able-bodied and you happen to need our assistance, right now you're going to have to go to those food banks. You're going to have to go to these other places and get food. The bottom line, folks, is everybody is pitching in to help. I think that's terrific. But I don't think in this instance, well, number one, the food banks say that there is not enough food that could be pushed through the system to help the people that are in need. However, I do like what Louisiana is doing by taking care of those that are really in bad situation. Those on disability, those senior citizens, and parents with children, let's just say it that way. I do think that is a good mythology. I didn't realize you could make a difference, but that reduces the number of people that get the benefit. I think our state, if we're not going to get that resolved today or tomorrow, I think our state really should look at doing that. I think that is ingenious. That is what Louisiana is doing. That is a Republican governor down there, Jeff Landry, who is the Republican governor who is doing this. What do you think? Do you think that the food banks are going to be able to supply enough food for all these people if this continues? Should the federal government open up the SNAP program, even if they wanted to only partially fund the SNAP benefits by saying only people that are in this, and this bucket get the SNAP benefits? I personally think that is the way to go. If the federal government won't do it, I think our state government should do it. I really think that Governor Henry McMaster, saying that we can do it by getting donations and everything, all the food banks are saying there is just no way. Now, they are helpful. It is a good plus, but it can't take care of the whole thing. And this idea that Henry McMaster cannot call them back into session, I would like to know why our legislators aren't saying to themselves, we need to go back and solve this. Sitting on your hands and doing nothing just to be able to say that you are supporting the administration and everything, I just don't think is a good answer. If you've got an answer to this, 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. Would love to hear from you on that. So, what else have we got here this morning? We have, what do we have? We have this is another story. Oh my God. I mean, we're going to talk about the sandwich thing, and I've got a couple other things. But this story right here, have you heard about this? If you're in Texas, court orders soft drink giant to pull popular soda from fountain machines. Yes. If you like Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper is saying that they won a case. When you go to get a Dr. Pepper fountain drink at your favorite restaurant, you might receive something different. On Monday, last Monday, a Texas court went into effect that officially ended Dr. Pepper's long-running distribution agreement with Rise Coca-Cola Bottling, which supplies Coke products to parts of California and Nevada. Oh, I thought it was in Texas. Okay, California and Nevada. According to Bloomberg, it's a ruling that gives Dr. Pepper's parent company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, full control to bring its soda back under its own distribution system. Per Yahoo Finance, the technical legit shift means Coke-affiliated fountains could lose access to Dr. Pepper syrup on Monday, and when that happens, restaurants and theaters will then turn to Mr. Pibb, Coca-Cola's intensely flavored, refreshingly spicy cherry alternative. It's not the same. I'm sorry, it's not the same. So, this past summer, a Texas judge ruled that Dr. Pepper had the right not to renew the contract and sent the October 27 termination date. So the Dr. Pepper people told the Dallas Morning News the company looks forward to bringing this distribution of the Dr. Pepper trademark into Keurig's Dr. Pepper's system this fall, which means that you won't be able to go if your system is not on that, will not be able to get Dr. Pepper. You will be offered Mr. Pibb. So, this timing coincides with Coca-Cola's relaunch of Mr. Pibb, which resurfaced in stores this month. The soda, which was created 1972 as a Dr. Pepper competitor, is now being marketed, I thought this was interesting, as a high caffeine drink and offers 41 to 54 milligrams per 12 ounces. So there you go. If you want to know what happens to Dr. Pepper, well, it's a fight over who controls the rights to where it can be used. So there you go. Just a little aside here this morning. Just a little aside. I thought that was most interesting. Now, we are going to talk about, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? I kind of think that well, I'll weigh in on it just a little. I'm not going to weigh in it very much. This idea that President Trump is going to start nuclear testing, I don't know where that came from. I don't think anybody else knows where that came from, but that is most outlandish. So I thought that was kind of a bad situation to be doing, but it's not surprising, is it? And there may be a very good reason. However, one of the other things that I'm a little bit peeved about is the fact that again, this administration, supposedly being the most transparent, is cutting off, again, where reporters can be. I believe this is in the White House. They're changing how that is being done and not giving them as much access to talk to people. I think that's the big thing. They want only access to the official sources. Well, that's if you're a good reporter, you have relationships with people, right? And you want to be knowing what's going on. So why would that be a good thing? It's kind of like what they did in the Pentagon. They're trying to make sure that they do not have any access to people who are that they don't have any access other than the official access. I'm going to tell you what, that actually bothers me a lot. I think that I can appreciate the fact of how they've been able to change what they're doing as far as who gets information about what. But I cannot understand why they keep changing this access. So that bothers me a little bit. I don't know about you, but that rather bothers me quite a bit. So let's go ahead and check this out right here. 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. Somebody just said, why do you even bother to talk about this stuff, Ann? It doesn't matter. You know, I think these things do matter. I think these things are important because if we're not talking about them, we can't see them change. But anyways, that's probably true. Probably, in the scheme of things, when we look back over this 100 years from now, Dr. Pepper will still be here and Mr. Pibb will have gone down the tubes regardless of how much caffeine it has. So, maybe you're right. Maybe you are right. Maybe the most important things are a murder here in Greenwood. Maybe that's what is important. This is a death investigation. Body recovered from Lake Greenwood identified. Stevie Charles Williams, 56, of Greenwood, has been identified through fingerprint analysis as the body found Friday on Lake Greenwood, according to the Lawrence County Senior Deputy Coroner Bill Williams. So that is of course, a very, very sad story. Don't really know if there is much more here. The American Red Cross is assisting in notifying his son, who is currently serving in the military in Germany. This is a very sad story. On October 31st, Lawrence County Coroner's Office responded to Lake Greenwood in Waterloo after two fishermen reported seeing a body floating in the water. Lawrence County Coroner Patty Canup said that once South Carolina Department of Natural Resources arrived on the scene with their boat, the body was recovered and brought ashore. The Lawrence County office is awaiting autopsy results to determine the official cause of death. You know, that is so sad. And, you know, if he was out there fishing and was alone fishing and maybe had, I don't know, a heart attack, tripped, something fell in the water, this is so sad. Right. Yeah, I know they are trying to control. We're getting messages all over the place here this morning on my saying this. They are trying to control the internal leaks. I know they are. But I think every time that you take that more access away, it has to do with distrust of the media, right? Distrust of the media. If your own people, and if your own people are on the same page with you, you shouldn't have to worry about leaks. Do you agree? I'll go back to this. If you have people on your team that are all on your team, and I think Trump went very hard to try to get people that would all be on his team. I mean, he basically gutted Fox News and put all these people in their these offices as communicators. Should he have to worry about this? I mean, they did this in the Pentagon, and there are senior reporters that have been around a long time that, sure, they have their contacts, and they should have their contacts. Actually, what makes for a good reporter? So, while I can say, yes, they're trying to do away with leaks, or I think you could also make a case that they're trying to control the media so much so much that they are overdoing it? And do we have a free press that is able to find out the information? I know, we all know that there is the legacy media that are against Trump. I know he knows that people are against him. But by shutting down ways that they have always had to communicate with people, you're making it look like, on the surface, that you do not trust the media at all. Well, would you do better to keep the access and say, okay, CBS, NBC, whichever one you want to go after, your reporter there is not allowed in our press places. We can't trust him. And they can make a case, well, we don't trust you, right? So, see, I don't know what the answer is on that, but it does make you very unsettled. So, to control the internal leaks, probably. Yes, somebody else says, don't know if you've covered this, Ann, but nuke readiness on 2020 interview last night. POTUS stated intent to test nuclear. Yes, he has made this comment out there. I did comment just briefly that right now, from what I understand, there is a lot of concern about what type of nuclear testing. Are they testing warheads? Are they going out to the site in the desert out there and dropping a nuke? What exactly do they mean? I did hear this morning on this great station called WCRS a report. What were they saying? That Trump was saying we had the most. I think they were disproving that by saying, who was it? China had about 3,000. The USA, I believe, had about 4,000 nukes. And Russia had about 5,000. And, so he puts that out there. He wants to do this immediately. Well, when you're in a government shutdown, that's kind of hard, folks, number one. But number two, is that another negotiation point with Vladimir Putin? Is that another negotiation point with him? I think it could be. It could be just, yes, we could start nuclear testing. One thing about Donald Trump, he says a lot of things out there, doesn't he? And he gets a lot of media attention, and everybody is like, oh my God, this is happening, that's happening, we'll never survive this, yada, yada, and then he doesn't do it. So, I guess one has to question, although the media can certainly turn up the heat on that and go, wow, he says he's going to do this. And, so when will it be? Tomorrow? He said immediately. But it's a little bit more of a problem to do something immediately, isn't it? He can't just do it. So I just thought I would tell you this is what we had some questions on, some people asking if I had covered it. Yes, I do think that the president, we don't know why he says these things, do we? We just don't know. So since we don't know, we're going to have to just go forward and say, we'll wait and see. And what exactly is he going to be testing? And was this a way just to get Putin's attention that Trump is willing to go all in? Of course, we all know that Putin has no problem going all in. That war needs to stop. And maybe this is all just part of the negotiation, showing Putin his willingness to do. I would think it would be more along that line than he actually wants to test. There is a nuclear proliferation freeze on doing testing. It was signed, I guess, in Congress. It was not signed on the international level, or it was signed on the international level and never in Congress. I think that is the correct answer on that. So, those are some of the things that I know about on the national scene. Of note, a person who is incarcerated and was facing the death penalty has now chosen his method of dying. I think this is, I do think this is one of the barbaric things. Barbaric, that doesn't sound right. Whatever things that we do in society. Now, I think, go ahead, choose your poison. That's really what they're saying, right? But this man has chosen the firing squad. Now, will he keep the firing squad, or will somebody talk him into the lethal injection way? I don't know. But I just remember seeing that he has decided to go with the firing squad. Ever since I've heard of using a firing squad, and that was several years ago, what was that, in Nevada or something, and then South Carolina adopted it? I don't know, folks. Anyways, that's another story that I just remembered from my memory banks this weekend. Okay, a Greenwood drug dealer has been sentenced to 15 years. A joint investigation between local and federal authorities ended with a drug dealer heading to prison for 15 years. Eighth Circuit Solicitor David Stumbo announced Friday in a press release. Necarius Trakel Dejar McKee, 26, pleaded guilty Friday to a charge of trafficking cocaine. McKee's case was scheduled to be called for trial during the current term of court. Circuit Judge Eugene C. Griffin III sentenced McKee to 15 years in prison. He has had, his background is littered with various drug-related and violent offenses dating back nearly a decade. The investigation into McKee was a joint operation between Greenwood County Sheriff's Drug Enforcement Unit and the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. What makes this case interesting is undercover agents purchased about 14 ounces of cocaine from McKee across 7 different controlled buys. The cocaine has an estimated street value of about $75,000. Following the investigation, the U.S. Attorney General's office declined prosecution. That, I think, is one of the most interesting lines in this story, and this was in the Index Journal from staff reports. Following the investigation, the U.S. Attorney General's office declined prosecution. Solicitor Stumbo then made the decision to prosecute this case on the state level. Well, hallelujah for that. But why did our the office of the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney General's office, declined to do it? We don't really know. Necarius McKee is someone we knew to be a repeat drug trafficker in our circuit, Solicitor Stumbo said of the decision to take the case on. We knew if we had a chance to put him away for a long time in state court, then we needed to take it. This investigation began back in July of 2023 with undercover agents made a series of 8 total buys from McKee, the first which was for 1 ounce of marijuana, then they went on. But I don't understand why the federal government declined to do this. And the state, thank goodness, picked it up, because what if the state hadn't picked it up? What if this was a sanctuary state? Well, it's not, Ann. I know. All right, so that was a big case. All right, now I've got a couple other things coming up this week on Meet Me at the Diner. Tuesday, tomorrow. No, nothing today, but on Tuesday, Denise Holland, who is the new CEO of the United Way, will be our guest. Looking forward to getting to know her and what they are doing over there at United Way. This, of course, is also very timely with all the food banks, and I know they've given out some money to some resources out in our communities to be able to push out more food. So that is a good thing. On Wednesday afternoon, Rob Jones of Patterson Insurance will be with us, giving us an update on what is happening with our insurance. You know, they've made some changes. You're going to need to be aware of those. This is, of course, the time every year that seniors get to pick who they want to be their additional provider with Medicare. So that's what we'll be doing this week. Thursday, of course, is the opening of the park. That is going to be pretty cool. That'll be at 4 p.m. And at 11:30 on Thursday, I am going to be over there at Harris Church over there with Doug Gilliam, who is going to be chatting with them about all the things having to do with that. And I don't see my notes here on this. Anyways, if you want to get in on this today is the absolute last day. Ashley Square's 2025 Annual Veterans Lunch is coming up this Thursday at Harris Baptist Church, 300 Center Street. They want all veterans to come. This is a free event for veterans. They are going to be serving you up a delicious lunch. They also would like your spouses to come if they would like to come. We have special guest representative Leon Doug Gilliam, South Carolina House District 42, and Command Sergeant Major retired in the U.S. Army. He is a proud veteran, tireless advocate, and he's deeply committed to supporting those who have served with dedication, rooted in honor, gratitude, and an unwavering promise to never leave a fellow soldier behind. That does start at 11. Doors open at 11. I think they're going to do the lunch at 11:30. The program will begin at 12. I hope you will be there. You do have today to get in for being there. They need a head count because they got to get all this food. So you can call Kim at 864-923-9694. That's 864-923-9694. Also, you can call Jan at 864-407-2775. That's 864-407-2775. Now, also on the 6th, Care of the Piedmont is having a Veterans Day breakfast on Friday. They say, please respond by November 3rd, honoring all who served hospice store in all who served. It is going to be at the hospice store right here in Greenwood, and that is November 7th at 9 a.m. So that is Friday morning. So that is another good one, but you do need to let them know today that you will be there. They have an email to respond to, M, like in Mother, Gettys, Gettys, at hospicepiedmont.org. I'll give that to you one more time. M, Gettys, Mgettys, at hospicepiedmont.org. That is for Friday morning at 9 a.m. Respond today. Ashley Square's lunch on the 6th is Harris Baptist Church. It's going to be a great event. That event keeps going. If you would like to go, 864-923-9694. That's 864-923-9694. Or you can also call 864-407-2775. Free food for veterans. There you go. That's pretty great. Now, coming up this Sunday is the Veterans Day Parade. If it's raining, it says they'll have a rain date on November 16th. The parade is at 2 p.m. The parade begins at the South Main Street Baptist Church and will proceed up Main Street, ending in Hampton Shopping Center. If you'd like to be part of the parade, I'm sure you can still be part of it. You just got to call George Watson at 864-229-0726. That's 864-229-0726. And they would love to have you on. And if you don't want to march in the parade, they'd love to have you on the sidelines cheering on our guys. Now, I do have another, this is all really for veterans today. Greenwood and Abbeville Girl Scouts are collecting winter hats and gloves for veterans this Veterans Day. This Veterans Day, local Girl Scouts from Greenwood and Abbeville are putting their core values of compassion, service, and community action into meaningful practice. As part of a special service project, the troops will be collecting new winter hats and gloves to support veterans in need. They were asking that you bring those to the parade, and as they're marching in the parade, they will collect them and then take them over to the Veterans Center at the end of the parade. So this is a great project. This is teaching them about service, but in the importance of giving back, and they came up with this project evidently on their own. That's pretty darn cool. So I'd ask that you support that if you can. Now, what else do we have? Coming up this Tuesday at 7 p.m. at the Abney Cultural Center Auditorium is the Department of Music at Lander University faculty recital featuring pianist Amy Blackwood, violinist Catherine Culp-Hazen, and clarinetist Dr. Jeremy Ruth. The recital will take place Tuesday, November 4th at the Abney Cultural Center Auditorium. So that is coming up on Tuesday. Also, don't forget about the Veterans Program. They had to move it. Evidently, they didn't have it all scheduled from the veterans, from the Valor Program. Did not have enough people coming to cover this. So they've rescheduled it for November 13th from 9 to 2. Greenwood County Veterans Center. You've got to make an appointment. You have the time to do it. Write this number down, 864-450-9268. That's 864-450-9268. This is free legal services for veterans and spouses. This is the Veteran and Armed Forces Legal Outreach, which comes from the Attorney General's office down there in Columbia. So, that's a few of the things that are going on. You and I both know, oh my God, the events are just piling up, aren't they? They're just piling up. I hope that you will get out and do some fun stuff this week and be part of all the things that are going on. I also published a list on WCRS of all our Facebook page of all the guests we had just in October. Pretty amazing list when you go back and look at it. So Lots of craft shows coming up, lots of parades coming up. We're going to try to cover as many of them as we can. But let me just say this. If anybody tells you there's nothing to do in Greenwood, they aren't looking very hard. That is for sure. So that's about all I have to say for today. I want to say a big thank you to Jim Harrison, who covered for me Sunday afternoon, so I could go and go to the mountains and enjoy the beauty up there. It really, really, really was great, and I appreciate it so much. The weather. The weather is going to be lovely this week. That is true. The weather is going to be lovely this week. What do we have? Okay. You know, the thing about it is there's so much news all the time. Do you ever feel just overwhelmed by it? I do. Right now they say, 44 degrees feels like, well, that's in Asheville, Ann. I was looking at this going, it wasn't that cold a while ago. How about this? Let's turn over to Greenwood. It's 44 in Nashville, but in Greenwood, it's 57 degrees. We are looking for a high today of 68 and a low of 41. No real chance of any rain, plentiful sunshine. Tuesday comes in, it's really a ditto day. Wednesday warms up just a little bit to 74 degrees and a low of 45. And Thursday is a high of 75, low of 45. Great day for an opening of the new Grace Street Park. And Friday is a high of 73 and a low of 55. May have a little chance of a shower, but not bad. Saturday comes in, another beautiful. We are stuck in the mid-70s and low 40s at night with hardly any chance of any rain. So, hallelujah. Get out and celebrate. Enjoy the fact for the next few days as your body adjusts to the time of waking up a little early. Well, that's unusual, Ann. Yes, it is. And don't forget to keep it right here on WCRS. Hey, if you've got a news tip or a point that you'd like me to make or talk about, 864-332-9355. Love to hear from you, 864-332-9355. You know, you can send that anytime. It is a text line. It is also a call-in message line, and then it converts it to a text. So it's a great way for me to be able to connect with you on a regular basis. Write it down, use it. It's actually better than my other text line because I get it immediately. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. I am Ann Eller. This is the end of the day for today. Penny's being real quiet. Yes, Penny's being real quiet. So let's drop the curtain, Ann. Let's drop the curtain here. Say goodbye. Show end. Cue the music. We are out of here. Well, we are out of here.
Keep on sharing.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop.
You're on the air.
As long as you've got love.
What's on your mind?